Hey guys, how you doing? Let's just do real quickly. Let's check all systems. Do you hear me? Do you see me? Hey Sylvain.
Hey, Anton, I can see you, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can see you as well. Guys, just quickly type in yes plus some favorite emoji in chat so that we could know that you actually do see and hear us. Yes, great, fantastic. So, yeah, happy to see you today there at our webinar on how to make well-converting great app preview videos for the App Store. So we'll have two parts to our webinar today. On the first part, Sylvain will talk about creating your app preview. What are the best practices? What are like the major mistakes you should avoid, etc. So this will be full of practical insights on creating the video that actually works. And the second part will be me talking about the performance of those videos, A/B testing them, what should you pay the biggest attention to. So if everybody is out here, sees us, hears us, I think that we may begin. Sylvain, can we start?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's go. Let's just wait for a second for the deck. Okay.
You guys see my screen? All right. Anton, can you see it?
Yeah, I can. That's pretty good.
Okay, perfect. Well, hi everyone. At Apptamin, if you don't know us, we're a video agency. And there are two main types of videos we create. The first one are video ads. And those are ad creatives that our clients use on Facebook, on Instagram, on UAC, on ad networks. And the second type is App Store videos, which includes app preview videos, the one we're going to talk today, as well as promo videos for the Google Play Store, knowing that videos on the App Store and on the Google Play Store have different formats and guidelines. But today we're going to focus on app preview videos. And just a quick step back, while we're even talking about those app preview videos, of course, the goal of these videos is to increase conversion on the App Store. And it's also to kind of educate the user and showing the user experience so that you get more engagement post-install. The latter is harder to measure, but here you have the examples of two apps for clients where video helped them increase significantly their conversion rate. What's great about video is it helps go beyond images, and even with a great screenshots like you have on the right, the video on the left, in just a couple of seconds, here you have a GIF, in just a couple of seconds, you get a better sense of what the gameplay is going to be and of the user experience. It's also much more attention grabbing, especially when you see that in the search results. It's true for games, it's true for apps as well. Here on the right, you have a good screenshot or a great screenshot. But when you see on the left, the video, same thing, in just a couple of seconds, you get a much better sense of what's going to happen. You understand that as you're going to move your phone over the sky, you're going to see the constellations appear, and you just get a much better sense of what the user experience is going to be than with the screenshot. So you've all seen videos on the App Store, and you kind of know where they can be displayed. So they're going to be displayed in the search results. Here you have the example of a landscape app preview, and it's going to be displayed as well on the product page before the screenshots. It can also be displayed in Apple Search Ads. So initially, people did not have a choice between in choosing which assets we're going to they were going to display, but now they can. And Anton, I don't know if you wanted to add a couple words on this, or maybe later.
They just a few words on creative sets. So the essence of like this Apple Search Ads update is as follows. Basically now Apple app publishers, that run Apple Search Ads can They can align various like keywords with different screenshots and app previews. So this creative sets introduction is definitely good news, and as it'll sure and it'll add a lot of like flexibility to your Apple Search Ads account and activity, and in general, it adds like just much more value to the channel. And basically, what's possible now is creating up to like 10 creative sets per ad group, making those screenshots and app previews very relevant to keywords you run your Apple Search Ads for. And now you can target basically certain variations to different segments of your target audience, etc. Also, a lot of people were like speculating and talking about like those creative sets as an alternative to A/B testing in Google Play and in third parties. It's not completely accurate. We'll, I think, have like the huge post on it like on blog maybe tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, for now I think that's it. There's just one more step from the Apple side just to enhancing your Apple Search Ads and optimizing it for better performance. So
yeah, it's pretty exciting, the possibilities that it opens to people running those ads.
Yeah, absolutely.
So getting to the actual videos, something that's very important to know, and you probably know it if you've been through it, is that those videos on the App Store are going to be manually approved by Apple, which always brings some part of subjectivity. That said, they do have guidelines, and I strongly encourage you to check them out to understand what those videos are supposed to be. For Apple, Apple wants those videos to be a preview of the experience that the app is going to provide. So make sure you stay, in that spirit. Know the guidelines. Know what's border guidelines as well, so you don't end up with a message, like this one telling you that your video is rejected. Once you know the guidelines, there's different ways you can approach your videos. It's going to be, like I said, mostly about showing your app and your app's experience. That said, you can use text, so you can have like on the left text screens and then showing the UI full screen. You can have text above the UI, or you can have text like here overlaid on the UI. And it's going to depend on what you're trying to show and how you want to show it. So this is are different options that you can use, but there are others as well. What we're seeing also in doing with some clients is, some parts that are more zoomed in or enhanced with effects. Again, here, be careful about, still showing what your app is about. You can have pretty fast pace to show different things, but make sure that you don't go overboard, because, same thing, it's about showing your app and you don't want your video to be rejected. I'm going to talk about orientation of app previews and showing different examples and then combinations of app previews and screenshots. And I'm going to do this because it's very important to understand how the videos are going to be displayed, as it's going to guide the creation of your videos. So let's start with the simplest examples. Here you have a video that's going to match both the screenshots orientation and the apps orientation. So what's going to happen is we have one app preview video here, and it's displayed in the search results along with screenshot number 1 and screenshot number 2. Here you have a landscape app preview, landscape video, and it's going to be displayed by itself because it takes the full width of the listing, which is pretty cool too, and very attention grabbing. It kind of looks like almost an ad you will get in a Facebook feed. So it's a great way to catch attention there. Again, just a video for landscape, no screenshots shown next to it. What we're starting to see also is sometimes videos that do not match the app's orientation. And here you have the example of a landscape app preview for a portrait app. And there's no magic recipe, or we can't tell you this works better than doing the portrait one. It's going to depend on your video and on your app as well. But what can be interesting with those landscape app previews is that in the search results, it allows you to have a video that takes the full width. You can have a message next to showing the screen, And also some things that are not done here, you can zoom in a little bit more on the UI to focus the viewer's attention. Because if the UI is too far back, like in my opinion, that that's a little bit the case here in some parts of these videos. If the UI is too far back, people are not going to be able to follow, especially with a screen with lots of information like this. But you could imagine zooming in a little bit, not too much, not to lose too much quality, and focusing the viewer's attention on some specific parts of the app. Same thing, you can leverage the full width of the screen to have some copies that's bigger than what you have here or what you can have in a portrait video. So what happens when you have several videos? Here you have the examples of several portrait app previews, and in the search results, it doesn't change anything. You still have app preview number 1 that's going to display along screenshot number 1 and screenshot number 2. On the product page, however, in that preview section, you're going to see first the first app preview, the second app preview, and then the screenshots. You have a similar thing with landscape app previews. Here, like we saw before, the landscape app preview displays in the search results by itself. And then when you get to the product page, you're going to have app preview number 1, app preview number 2, app preview number 3, and then the screenshots. So those examples are when the videos match the screenshots orientation. Now, what happens when you have a landscape app preview with portrait screenshots? Here, you're going to see that in the search results, the landscape video is by itself and therefore, takes central stage. So it's great to grab the attention. When you get to the product page, however, the video is going to be displayed in a section called a closer look. Sometimes this section is above the screenshot, sometimes below. It kind of depends on your device. It seems that, or maybe there's still some A/B testing going on Apple's side. So here on the product page, the conversion is going to rely mostly then on the screenshots because the video is below everything. If you go further, here's another example where app preview number 1 is a landscape app preview, but app preview number 2 is a portrait app preview. And what happens here is same thing as before. The landscape app preview displays in the search results. When you get on the product page, it is in the closer look section. And I was telling you about an example where it's above the screenshots, and this is one. But if you look on your device, you might see something different. So the landscape app preview is in this section, a closer look. And then below that, you have the preview section. And here you have the portrait app preview. So app preview number 2, and then the screenshots. You can also flip it, and here is an example where the first app preview is a portrait app preview and matches the screenshots orientation. So you have same thing, portrait app preview along with screenshot number 1, screenshot number 2 in the search results. When you get to the product page, the app preview is displayed before the screenshots. And here they also have a landscape video that ends up in the closer look section. So like I was saying, it's very important to understand how this is going to display because it's going to allow you to know and it's going to guide you in what you're going to put in each of your videos. If it's in the search results, it might be faster pace, quick overview of some things. If it's in a closer look or if it's in an app preview number 2, app preview number 3, you might show different parts of your app and get a little bit more in-depth. So you want to know what your strategy is here. Same thing with Apple Search Ads. If you understand how those videos are going to display once you upload them, you're going to be able to have a bigger, a larger pool of videos that you can use to do your testing. Which brings me to the first best practice, which is don't look at your videos as isolated items. You want to think about all this and think about your App Store listing as a whole. So your videos should work together if you have several ones. Like I said, you don't want to show the same thing in your in all your videos. If you have multiple videos because your app has multiple important features or functionalities that you want to show, then it's fine, but you want them to be different. And you also want to make sure your videos are going to work with your screenshots and not show the same information in both the video and your screenshots, and especially not at the same time, because you're just losing an opportunity to convey your app's value. The guidelines, I talked about it. Make sure you check them out. For example, app previews are supposed to be mostly based on captured footage. The app is supposed to stay front and centered. You should not show any live action of live action video of people interacting with your app. And around this captured footage on text screens or above the UI, you can try some things, but again, make sure you have a backup plan in case the video is rejected, because you don't want to start your video from scratch if Apple tells you it does not follow the guidelines. Next, you want to design for sound off, because those videos on the iOS App Store, they autoplay in mute, both in the search results and on the product page. And the only way that people are going to hear the sound from your video is if they go to the product page, tap on the video to view it full screen, and this is going to be like only a fraction of people hearing the sound. So you cannot rely on sound. You can have it, and it can make the video better, but do not rely on it. So instead, you should leverage copy and text and have it large enough so that people can read it, so that you can show, you can tell people what you're showing them. And you also want to create a video that's easy to follow, especially if you have screens that are a little heavy and with lots of things on it. They won't be able to follow a complicated story within messages and stuff like that. So make it easy to follow for people that don't have the sound off. Watch your video without the sound on when you're reviewing it to make sure that the message is conveyed. Next is planning your poster frame. And the poster frame is now not as important as it was before iOS 11, yet it's still going to display for a split second before your video autoplays. And it's also going to be displayed when your competitor's video is playing. That's what we're saying here. When this video is playing, we have the poster frame here. And then the video starts when this video is over. So it's still going to display. Some users can turn it off in the settings. I don't know how many people do that. But still, give some thoughts to your poster frame and plan it when you're creating your video, because this poster frame, this thumbnail, has to be part of your video. It's not something you choose separately. You upload your video, then you're going to choose your poster frame, and it's going to be a part of your video. Next, you want to go straight to the point, show your app's value quickly, and do not go into unnecessary details. Not show a login screen. Often do not show your app icon as well. Straight at the beginning. Do not show complicated screens like settings or anything that, when displayed small, people will just not be able to understand what it is. And to that point, you also want to start strong and show something that's going to be visually compelling, that's going to grab the attention, and that looks good even when shown small. And you can use text as well, along with that, to really give a a strong first impression. Again, just make sure the text is large enough so people can read it. A big best practice, and Anton is going to talk a lot more about all of this later, is you want to test those app previews. There's some stats, there's people trying stuff, there's people, some things that you can see online or on the App Store live. But all the apps are different, so you want to test and see what works for you. Just a few words on the process that you can have when creating those videos. This is the process that we use with our clients, but you can and you should pretty much use the same thing, in the sense that you want to discuss with your team and write, define your strategy and write a script for each of the videos you're going to create. Because it's going to be much, much easier to change a few lines in your script right now and agree with the team, rather than wait until the video is produced and start it from scratch again or modify things. Next, when you have the scenarios for your videos defined, you want to plan well and discuss with your team again what content you're going to show, because you want to show the best, the most relevant content in the video. You should not show an empty app. You want it to feel like someone has been using it already without being too complicated. So think about all of this and plan it before getting started. Don't just plug your phone and start recording, because it's not going to have the same impact once the final video is produced. After that, of course, you produce and you finalize the video with your team. Some insights from videos we've produced for clients. The first point goes with what I was saying when I was saying consider your the full App Store listing. You want a video that's going to be in line with your brand. It should not be an isolated asset that doesn't look at all like the rest. Like it shouldn't look, different from the rest of your listing or from your brand in general. And what we did here for Hopper is we used some of their design assets because they have a very specific brand identity with a bunny and everything. And we use some of these assets and on the text screens. And then we animated them. That way, there's this general feeling that when you get to the App Store from an ad that was using this the brand, you get to the App Store and you see something that's consistent with it. Another point is to start with your main message and what you want to convey. What's the most important to convey to people. For example, here in the case of Varo, one important, the most important thing was to have people understand that Varo is not just an app where you're going to be able to follow your different bank accounts from different banks. The service actually gives you a bank account and a debit card. So in the first seconds of the videos, that's what we're showing. If you create, some text screens, have some text overlay, make sure you stay true to the app spirit. Have something that looks good with it, so the video is polished, and because if the video is polished, it's going to reflect, of course, on the app as well. And we tested in the case of Tropic Ads here. They tested different versions, and what seems to work best is when you're able to show some quick overview of the app or the game, rather than long sequences of things and too much details like I was telling before. Let's get into some of the top fails. And when fail is a very strong word, but here there are some examples of things that could be improved fairly easily sometimes. The PayPal app preview that you see here in the search results, that's pretty much how you see it. And they start with a text screen, which is not necessarily bad. It can be a good way to grab the attention. But the problem here is that the text is just too small. And it's small here in the presentation, but picture it in an iPhone 5 or even in the 6 and 7. If you don't have a very good view, you won't be able to see it. And also, you might just not bother. You might just look at the listing below or the listing above if it's easier to read. Another listing that another video where there could be improvement is the one for HDTV. So the app allows you to watch some TV shows. And what could be improved here is that in the first few seconds, we don't see much. They're showing this this navigation, this screen, and there's a swipe. But they're not leveraging the fact that it's an app where you're going to be able to watch video. And if you look at some of the other apps about, with TV shows on the App Store, you'll see that some of them show the video full screen. And what they could have here in the first few seconds is, 2 or 3 quick cuts of the video full screen and the name of the show on top of it, and then get into the navigation and more of the user experience. Because the value that the app is going to provide in the end is watching those TV shows. So why not put them, first? This one goes back to the point I was making about considering your App Store listing as a whole. Here, Bank of America, on the Bank of America video, what happens is, in the first 1 or 2 seconds, you're seeing this screen, but it's the exact same screen, not exact, but it's the same screen as the first screenshot. So you're losing an opportunity to, to show something else there, and people might just skip it because they're seeing twice the same thing, basically. So think about that. Think about the fact that your video is going to display along with your first screenshot and your second screenshot. So in the search results and also on the product page, you want to make sure everything works together. The last one here is kind of the same thing. The video of same-day print starts by showing the icon. But the thing is, the icon is right here. So there's no need to show that. And they're even losing more time because they're showing the icon and then they're zooming out and showing the iPhone home screen, which you're not even supposed to do, if you follow Apple's guidelines. So that's it for me on the best practices and some of the pitfalls to avoid. I'm going to leave the stage to Anton about A/B testing videos and some data that SplitMetrics has.
Great, thanks, Sylvain. Guys, how do you feel about the first part? Just be free to type in real quick in the chat, and please give me just a couple of seconds to share my presentation. We'll begin in just a couple of seconds. So, okay. The deck is on. All right. Great. So once again, Sylvain, thanks for sharing insights. Now let's move on to the A/B testing and actually your app preview video performance, right? So the first question will be why you should even consider A/B testing your app preview video, right? So basically, no matter how well it is constructed, it may meet all best practices, it may look great, your colleagues may actually love it, but your target audience may still have mixed feelings about it, may just not like it, and those things happen, and that's the major part why you should A/B test your app previews. So the first thing remember here is what may seem appealing to you and your team and guys who you work with is very often seen very differently by your target users. Now, in addition to that, the presence of video itself does not necessarily mean the increase in engagement and conversion on your app page. So in SplitMetrics practice, there were cases when just plain screenshots worked much better than the combination of app preview video plus screenshots. So this should definitely be A/B tested as well. Now, the reasons for this is just differences between various categories of apps and games, their perception by users. For games, for example, video may work fantastic because in games, basically engagement and user experience is driven by like various visual effects and what you add in the interface. So that's really important, and that's what video may portray best. And there is just no way to illustrate it better than on your app preview video. However, it may be really different in case with apps because there is just sometimes no need to showcase any sort of visual effects this much, and all functionality may be as well reflected on screenshots, which take just less time to scroll through rather than watching 5, 10, 15 seconds of video. And we've seen such cases as well. So, and now I'd like to point out a very important thing that on this stage right now, we're just not jumping into any conclusions. Just remember that such factors as, your target audience, your category, configuration of your video and your screenshots, just app pages of your competitors as well, all of that plays crucial role in how the addition of app preview video to your app page will reflect on conversion. And the main thought is that just, once again, no hypothesis is 100% true until tested. Just keep it in mind. Now, how do you actually A/B test? What's the process, and how can you get really good results, actionable results from it? Just real quick, guys, please let me know in the chat who had some experience with A/B testing before, and maybe A/B testing on the App Store in particular. Just would be nice to know that. Yeah, just real quick, type plus or minus. Doesn't matter for me to see. Google Play, okay. Just text. Great, cool. So just I hope that the following will be really useful to guys who never did any A/B testing at all, as well as to those who did A/B test. Those will hopefully also find something new. So if you're new to A/B testing, it might be hard to know where to begin. What's the first step? And from our experience, we figured out certain steps which are vital parts of any A/B testing activity, wherever you have it, on Facebook and Google Play, App Store, you're A/B testing your web pages, whatever. So first, you do your research and analysis. Second step is variations brainstorming, designing. Then you're actually running your A/B tests and experiments. Then you evaluate results and interpret those results, that crucial part which many guys fail. Then you implement results, track what changed in real life, and then you just iterate, do some follow-up experiments. Now, on this webinar, I'll just quickly run through the most important ones. Those stages in regards to app preview video. And you may find like the whole A/B testing timeline with like Google Sheets, etc. on our blog. I think I'll share like the link after the webinar. It's just a great piece of content. We'll definitely share it with you. So the first one, research and analysis. And on this stage, you should do 3 main steps. First, you compare your app page to similar apps in the category or games in the category. Those who appear near you when the user searches for certain keywords. It may be like photo editing app or like racing game, whatever. And your app should stand out positively among those guys. So you should just, on this step, make proper due diligence of your competitors. Second, make sure to compare the messaging found on your app page against that which your competitors have. And what you basically should do is come up with the messaging that gives your app, once again, a competitive advantage, makes you stand out, and makes you stand out positively, not just stand out in any manner. Plus, just a small life hack, if you're a small publisher, you just don't have a lot of ASO expertise yet, did not A/B test at all before, just be free to take inspiration from your big competitors. The thought is just probably like huge companies have ASO teams and did a lot of work already on their like app pages. So do not steal nothing, but be free to take inspiration from some of the elements, captions or like how the video is configured, etc. Just take a look at it. And the third step, finally, just review your app's usage data, and you do this to figure out which features and elements inside your app are most used, most viewed, most purchased inside your app. This may be done just in your mobile attribution trackers like Adjust, AppsFlyer, Tune, whatever you're using. And it makes sense to use those insights and reflect them in your app preview video to actually increase its appeal to new users and for you to share like the most engaging, the most important parts of your app or game on the video itself, like in the App Store. Right. Now let's talk about the next very important step in A/B testing workflow, which is brainstorming your hypothesis and variations for the A/B test. Now, when it comes to the video, what we suggest to do first is to test your video versus its absence, right? If you see the increase after this experiment, you may proceed to tweak and polishing the video itself. But first, it just may be the case that for your particular app, video may not work just as fine. So test it. Now, while coming up with ideas for your video, best way will be to come up with 2-3 concepts and then consult with like either a production agency like Apptamin, who'll guide you through best practices because they've seen tons of video and they know what works and what doesn't. Or you may just go to teams like, like SplitMetrics, where you can get access to the performance benchmarks by category. So you may see actual numbers of what works in your category and what doesn't. Also, just talk to the ASO manager. It'll help you estimate setup videos for success just from the very start. So this should help. The next part I'd like to cover is which number of videos converts best. Also a very important thing. So as you may know, Apple allows to upload up to 3 app preview videos and up to 10 screenshots, by the way. But, it doesn't mean that you should necessarily use all of them. So based on our data, what we've noticed is simply adding the video to the app page may increase your conversion up to 20%, right? And this works across all categories. The main thing to keep in mind is that the quality of your video should be really good. And we're not talking about some kind of simple screen capture. The video should be carefully structured. It should be thought through. The concept should be nice. It should be really catchy and engaging from the very start. But adding such video may increase conversion up to 20%. Now, if you already have a nice working video on the app page, adding 2 more of them won't make any sense, judging by our data. So we've seen some cases where it insufficiently increased conversions, but taking into account the resources and timing you need to produce a bunch of videos, safe to say that you won't get any sufficient results by adding 2 more. Just at the very beginning, stick with 1, then try adding 1 by 1, really like piece by piece, and see how it affects your app. It may work just well, but just not in all cases. There are some interesting results with testing 2 or 3 videos for games. For example, with three videos, we've seen conversion improvement ranging from 5 to 30%, with 2 videos up to 15%. Again, it's only for games. They were achieved just because those games were full of action, like lots of interface effects, like it may be like RPG racing games, action games. And as I previously outlined, making those 2-3 videos only makes sense if you have a game and this game is full of incredible, like engaging features which are proved to engage users and actually like users love them. In such case, play with a couple of videos. It makes sense. Otherwise, just data shows that it's better to stick with 1 app preview, use your screenshots only, and just trying to add 1 by 1 videos very accurately. Also, just a quick note on video duration. So according to our data, average view rates vary from 10 to 15 seconds. Now, Apple allows you to upload videos up to 30 seconds long, but based on our data, users don't watch past 15 seconds mark. So just, don't waste resources, time for long app previews. Just strive to make a short, engaging 10-15 seconds, really engaging app preview. This will work just fine for you. Yeah. Now, what we've also noticed is that the highest conversion for your app preview, for the highest conversion, your app preview should be really synchronized with your screenshots. What I mean by that is many publishers make a mistake of showing same features both in video and on following screenshots. This is a mistake because when you show same content, and Sylvain was talking about it previously, it essentially eliminates the effectiveness of one of 2 elements, screenshots or video. Example of this is when a publisher creates a detailed video showcasing all of elements of the interface and then just simply screenshots it and makes those like pictures screenshots following his app preview video. It's really bad idea. Don't show the same stuff. What successful publishers do is create a flow in which users' attention is gradually moved from video to following screenshots, providing maximum engagement. And this way it really works. And yeah, to my previous point about the view duration, sure. So users view your video for 10, 15 seconds. Mostly the minimum length of video is 15 seconds to be uploaded to the App Store. So just take this information in mind, and while creating it, just make sure to put as much engagement and like very important pieces of content which is inside your app to the very start of the video, just because users, the quicker users are engaged and react, the better. Now let's move next. So you may want to get more data about video performance yourself, right? How long people watch it, how video affects installs, do people even watch it before tapping on get? So previously it was not possible to get like deep insights on it just anywhere in the market. Now it's possible to do in SplitMetrics directly, because we've added our advanced video analytics just a couple of weeks ago. Our analytics presents a full picture of how users actually interact with your app preview. You may see the screenshots of dashboard. So those advanced metrics are available not only for video experiments, but also for all product page A/B tests that feature your app previews. On this dashboard and video analytics tab, you now can see the number of visitors who've watched your video, right? This metric indicates the number of your product page visitors that watched at least one video on the variation for more than 3 seconds. And by the way, the autoplay mode is included as well, so we count it. Now you can also see the view rate, the percentage of visitors that watched at least one video on the variation for more than 3 seconds, also autoplay included. The number of installs after watching your video. And that's just the number of taps to install that happened right after the video is being watched or after watching more than 3 seconds of it. Yeah, just average view duration so that you could assess it, and much, much more. There is a lot of data. Now we also present it in forms that are most convenient for your team to understand and make some actionable conclusions of it. I encourage you to give this functionality a try. If you're using SplitMetrics already, this should be available in your dashboard right now. If not, it's a great time for you to use actually our joint video app preview pack with Apptamin, which is live now. I'll share a link just a little bit later. Yeah, so in this pack, you basically can create up to 3 app preview videos for a very sweet price with Apptamin. And SplitMetrics just will offer you an unlimited A/B testing plan for those videos. So to claim, go to gosplitmetrics.com/Apptamin. And yeah, just in chat, let me know if you'd like us to share this link, maybe via email or somewhere else, just after the webinar. Now, on this note, I'd like to end my part with one last thought. So if you want to incorporate app preview on your app page, those 3 steps should make it working for you. So first, brainstorm and validate your app preview idea with professionals. Ask them for benchmarks, data by categories, etc. Never rely solely on your own perception. After you're testing your videos for some time, after you have some data of your own, you may start continuing with your own perception and data. At the very start, it's much better to consult, or at least take some information like from open sources, from like Apptamin's blog, for example, or SplitMetrics blog. We have a lot of data on this as well. Now, the second is A/B test it, just in and out. Take a careful look at the results. If needed, once again, ask SplitMetrics. Will help you with running and interpreting them professionally. Do it to back your just future decisions by actual data from your target audience. This will skyrocket just your chances to increase conversion on the app page. So yeah, A/B test, never miss this step. And the third one is iterate, because nothing works forever. You'll need to make changes to the app page in times of some seasonal promo activities, like before Christmas, or when you have the new version of your app. So iterating is very important. And once again, there is no better way to do this than with some A/B testing. So I encourage you to check out our blog on splitmetrics.com to learn more about app preview videos, performance, A/B testing in general, and ASO. We publish lots and lots of content every week. Also, once again, back to the pack, I see that Sylvain shared a link to the chat. Be free to claim it. Just go to the link. It all is written out there. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the webinar. Sylvain, thanks so much for joining me, for your insights. Information was really great. I hope it's been helpful. I hope it's been helpful for all of you guys. And yeah, I think that's it.
Thanks, Anton. And yeah, great. Those video metrics are really exciting. That's really cool that you guys have that.
Absolutely. Great, guys. Thanks to all of you. Let's keep in touch via email, on social. See you soon. And yeah, wish you luck with your app previews. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.